Good afternoon, everybody. You are listening to Lake Stevens Vikings playoff baseball. My name is Payne Patchett here for game number 22 of the 2018 varsity baseball season and the second playoff game in this postseason as the Lake Stevens Vikings play in the Wesco semifinals for the second consecutive year against the number one seeded Cascade Bruins, who have also recently been announced as the fifth best team in the state for 4A. The Lake Stevens Vikings will be starting sophomore pitcher Xander Fogel for his first varsity start against veteran starter Brett Gillis for the Cascade Bruins, who are entering this game with a record of 16-3, coming off their first Wesco 4A regular season title since the two divisions merged back in 2015. When we come back, it'll be the top of the first inning. Lake Stevens will come up to the plate first, starting with Ben Pizer, who is celebrating his 18th birthday today against Brett Gillis as Lake Stevens tries to move on and keep their championship hopes alive as they try to advance to their second consecutive Wesco championship. You're listening to Lake Stevens Vikings varsity baseball from Cascade High School in Everett, Washington. And we are now here in the top of the first inning here for the Wesco 4A semifinals between Lake Stevens, the number 5 seed, taking on the top-seeded Cascade Bruins. They're also ranked number 5 in the state of Washington in the recent baseball rankings. Brett Gillis, first pitch is a strike one looking to the left fielder Ben Pizer. 22 hits and 67 at-bats, a .328 batting average with 4 RBIs and 6 for 6 in stolen bags. The 0-1 pitch outside, ball one. He has been hit twice. He has scored 20 runs. He has hit 3 doubles, 2 triples, and has been walked 12 times this year. The windup and the 1-1 pitch from Brett. Strike two looking. Right down the middle, 1 ball, 2 strikes. The first 3 batters for the Lake Stevens Vikings, left fielder Ben Pizer, the third baseman Theron Perkins, and the catcher Trey Long, the 1-2 from Brett. Check swing, did he go? And he did not. Check swing by Pizer, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rest of the lineup, Connor Bardou once again in the lineup for the first time since April 20th when he separated his shoulder on a slide to second against Monroe. He is back in the lineup as a designated hitter, the 2-2. Strike 3 called, and Brett gets Ben looking for the first out in the first inning. Now bring out the next batter. It is Theron Perkins, the starting third baseman. Entering this game, a .396 batting average, a homer, and 16 RBIs. He has been hit once. He has scored 7 runs. He has hit a team-high 5 triples, and he has been walked 4 times. Brett, first pitch, chopper. This one going to the third baseman, Carson Metcalf. Throw to first is it in time? It is not. It is an infield single for Theron Perkins. Carson Metcalf, the starting shortstop, did not let go of the ball in time. And the Vikings will get a 1-out single to get things going in this game. That will bring up the starting catcher, Trey Long. Entering this game, 18 hits and 53 at-bats, a .340 batting average with 10 RBIs. He has been hit 3 times. He has scored 16 runs. He has hit a team-high 7 doubles, including 1 triple, and 12 walks. He is 0 for 5 with 2 walks in the regular season series in which Cascade swept the Vikings by 1 run, 2-1 and 4-3. First pitch low in the dirt for a ball 1. Brett Gillis entering this game with a record of 4 wins and no losses, an ERA of 1.34 in his 7th appearance and his 6th start. And the 1-0 outside, ball 2. He has thrown 2 complete games this season as well, including his second start, including the second game against the Vikings. The 2-0 pitch. Theron going to second. Does he get him? No, he does not. A 2-1 count for Trey Long, and Theron Perkins gets his 7th stolen base of the year, and Vikings, they get a runner in scoring position with 1 out in the first. And Brett Gillis, 31 in the 3rd inning, 17 hits, 6 earned runs, walking 16 batters. He struck out 41, now 42 batters entering this game. The 2-1. Foul ball. This hits the fence. Behind home plate, count evens up at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The defensive lineup for the Cascade Bruins entered the game at 16-3. On the mound is Brett Gillis. Behind the plate is Nicholas Klemp. On the infield, Jacob Sesso at third base, the sophomore. The senior, Carson Metcalf at shortstop. The second baseman, Ben Hansen, the junior. And the 2-2, a fly ball. That one will fly out above the Lake Stevens dugout along the first base side. Count stays at 2-2. And at first base is the sophomore Brock Gillis, Brett Gillis' younger brother. And both Brett and Brock have been a force to be reckoned with this year. 2-2 outside, ball 3. And the outfield, it'll be left fielder Jaden Tult, the sophomore. Center field is Drew Swartz. He started against the Vikings last season. This is his first start this year. And at right field is Sam Barnes. Payoff pitch. Low, ball 4. Lake Stevens will get runners on first and second with 1 out in the top of the first. Now bring up Connor Bardou, making his return to the plate. His first game since April 20th when he separated his shoulder sliding into second base on a 2-out double. But the good news is that the Vikings have survived long enough for him to return, and he might have a chance to have a big impact in this game early. First pitch, a strike 1 looking, entering this game with a .471 batting average, 16 hits in 34 at-bats with 9 RBIs. He has been hit 4 times. He has scored 16 runs, hit 4 doubles, has been walked 10 times. The 0-1 upstairs, ball 1. He's hit 1 home run. He has 9 RBIs and is 5 for 5 on stolen bases. And Brett, the 1-1. Strike 2 looking. The count now at 1-2. The lineup for the Lake Stevens Vikings: Ben, Theron, Trey, and Connor. At the 5 spot is Christian LaPierre, the hero in Saturday's game against Glacier Peak. The 6 hitter is Will Wentz. The 7 hitter is right fielder Tanner Lynn, along with Brendan Miller and Hunter Zalesko at the 9 spot. Brett, 1-2. Sharp ground ball. This one hitting the fence right next to the Lake Stevens dugout. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The subs for the Lake Stevens Vikings: Justin Troya, Aleki Bachuan, Jacob Gordon, Bailey Corley, Jacob Wardela, Bryce Mefford, Cameron Austin, Tommy Lindgren, Ethan Jansen, and Tate Brust. Brett looking over at Theron at second, the 1-2. Hard hit shot. This one going in the right field. That's going to fall right in front of Sam Barnes. Theron Perkins, he's going to stop at third. And it'll be a 1-out single, as there'll be a bases loaded for Christian LaPierre. Theron at second, Theron at third, Trey at second, and Connor at first. It was a bloop single in the short right field. It lands right in front of Sam Barnes. And Christian LaPierre, he was the hero in Saturday's game. He was 2 for 3 with a single and a home run. First pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. He had a 2-run home run in the top of the 9th inning off of Noah Stingley, Glacier Peak's relief pitcher, scoring Tommy Lindgren from first. LaPierre entering this game, a .360 batting average, 18 hits and 50 at-bats, a homer and 13 RBIs. It is 8 for 9 on stolen bases. And the 0-1 by Brett. Check swing. Did he go? He did. Strike 2 looking. Count now at no balls and 2 strikes. And Brett, shaking off a sign from Nicholas Klemp, finally gets the one he wants. To wind up in the 0-2. Check swing, ball 1. And Brett Gillis, he was a starting pitcher against the Vikings when they last played here at Cascade High School back on March 31st. He threw a complete game, allowing 5 hits, an earned run, no walks, and struck out 8 batters. The 1-2 upstairs, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And in that game, it went right down to the wire as Cascade won on a walk-off hit by a pitch with the bases loaded. In the bottom of the 7th inning, officially sweeping the regular season series. And Brett, the 2-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Christian not liking that call as the Vikings will keep the bases loaded. There's a check swing by Christian, but apparently he went too far, as it'll be the second strikeout for Brett. Here is Will Wentz entering the game with a .265 batting average and a team-high 18 RBIs with 4 hit by pitches, 6 runs, 6 doubles, and 6 walks. First pitch, check swing, strike 1 looking. It was the first time that Brett has walked a batter, and that was back in Trey Long, the 0-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes. Brett Gillis trying to get control of the Vikings early after he lost it for a while, allowing 3 runners on base, the 0-2. Ground ball, this one going to the second baseman, Ben Hansen, who throws the first. And it is in time at the end of the top of the first inning. No runs on 2 hits, no errors. and 3 runners left on. Brett Gillis takes control of the inning after allowing 2 singles and a walk. We now go into the bottom of the first inning, where it will be the sophomore Xander Fogel making his first varsity start against the left fielder Jaden Talt, the catcher Nicholas Klemp, and his counterpart, the starting pitcher Brett Gillis. In the bottom of the first inning, Lake Stevens nothing, Cascade coming up. And we are now back into the bottom of the first inning. Cascade coming up to bat for the first time in this afternoon. The starting pitcher for the Lake Stevens Vikings, number 32, Xander Fogel, entering the game 2 wins and no losses, an ERA of 2.77. He'll be facing off against the leadoff hitter, another fellow sophomore, left fielder number 20, Jaden Talt. Entering the game with a .314 batting average, 16 hits and 51 at-bats with 11 RBIs. He is also 1 for 3 in stolen bases this season. First pitch, one hopper to the starting catcher, Trey Long. A 1-0 count. Jaden, 8 runs, 4 doubles. He has hit 1 triple, then has been walked 7 times. And during the series, he was 2 for 6 with a double, 2 RBIs. And has been walked twice. The 1-0, inside, ball 2. Xander in 10 1/3 innings, he has allowed 11 hits, 4 earned runs, walking 2 batters, striking out 5. And the first 3 batters for him, the left fielder Jaden Talt, the catcher Nicholas Klemp, and the pitcher Brett Gillis. The 2-0, strike 1 looking right down the middle. And the lineup for the Cascade Bruins, it'll be Talt, Klemp, and Gillis. The cleanup hitter is the third baseman, number 11, Jacob Sesso. The 5 hitter is the first baseman, Brock Gillis. The 2-1, foul ball. This one going over the fence and over the building behind home plate. That holds the PA announcer. Count is even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Ben Hansen, the second baseman, at the 6th spot. The right fielder, Sam Barnes, in the 7th spot. Shortstop, Carson Metcalf, and the center fielder, Drew Swartz, in the 9-hole. Timeout by Jaden. The reserves for Cascade, Gage Davis, Maximo Willis, Gatlin Griffith, Jackson Ramstead, along with a couple of players who have played against the Vikings in the past couple of years. 2-2. Ground ball. This one going to the second baseman, Brendan Miller, who will throw to first. And to the first baseman, Will Wentz, who will get him out for the first out of the first inning. And he'll bring up the next batter, senior catcher, number 13, Nicholas Klemp, a 3-year starter. No, a 2-year starter. No, I was right, 3-year starter. For the Cascade Bruins, one of the top catchers in Wesco 4A baseball, entering this game, 20 hits and 51 at-bats with a .392 batting average and 10 RBIs. He has scored not a team-high 20 runs. He's 1 off. First pitch, upstairs, ball 1. 20 runs. He has hit 1 double, 1 triple, and he has been walked 12 times, and he was 1 for 7 with a single in the regular season series. And the 1-0 by Xander. Foul ball. This one hits the fence behind home plate. And there were a couple of players that played against the Vikings that are a sub. Zach Gill, who has played as a designated hitter. And Stephen Maynard, he was a second baseman in one of the games, along with Zach Holsopple, Brody Larson, and Dakota Talt. A few familiar names from the sub list as well. The 1-1 outside, ball 2. And the defensive lineup for the 9-12 Lake Stevens Vikings. On the mound is Xander Fogel. Behind the plate is Trey Long. On the infield, we have Theron Perkins at third, Hunter Zelasco at shortstop, Brendan Miller at second, and Will Wentz at first. A 2-1. Foul ball. This one hitting straight to the wooden backstop behind home plate. Count is even, 2 balls and 2 strikes here for Fogel against Klemp. In the outfield, it'll be left fielder Ben Pizer, center fielder Christian LaPierre, and the right fielder Tanner Lind, with no designated hitter. And with Connor Bardew as a designated hitter, I forgot about him. The 2-2, foul ball. This one landing over to Lake Stevens bleachers along the first base side. Count stays at 2-2. And Brett Gillis, on paper, he's one of the toughest guys to get out. He is definitely has one of the highest batting averages. 2-2, a hard hit shot to center field. Christian LaPierre, he is there and will make the catch for the second out of the first inning. And here is the starting pitcher, number 7, Brett Gillis. Here is his stats. His batting average, 29 hits and 58 at-bats. That's right, he is entering the postseason with an even .500 batting average, easily one of the best, not only in Wesco, but in the state of Washington. I can't imagine any other player with a higher batting average, especially a guy who can pitch and can hit really well. First pitch, low and outside, ball 1. He has hit the team's only home run and has 12 RBIs. He also leads the team in stolen bases as he is 10 for 11. He has scored a team-high 21 runs. He has hit 11 doubles. He's hit 1 triple. And he's been walked 11 times. 1-0 pitch upstairs, ball 2. And Xander, the windup in the 2-0. Outside, ball 3. And a close pitch to call there by the home plate umpire. And Xander behind on the count 3-0. Upstairs, ball 4, and Brett will be walked on 4 pitches. And Cascade will get their first base runners. They'll bring up the cleanup hitter, number 11, Jacob Sesso, the starting third baseman. Entering the game, 18 hits, 53 at-bats for a .340 batting average, and also leads the team in RBIs with 16 and is 2 for 2 on stolen bases. There will be a pinch runner. There'll be a pinch runner for Brett Gillis, and that'll be number 4, Stephen Maynard. He played a little bit of second base for Cascade this season, but this is the first year where he's been adapted to pinch running. Xander Fogel, first pitch to Sesso, strike 1 looking. Xander count, no balls, 1 strike, looking over at Maynard at first. Wind up in the 0-1. Outside, ball 1. One ball and 1 strike. And the last time, Xander throw to first, not in time. The last time these two teams played against each other in the playoffs was in 2014. Lake Stevens, they were the number 1 seed from the Wesco 4A North. Cascade, number 1 from Wesco 4A South. And the 1-1 pitch, a liner straight to the shortstop, Hunters Alaska. Steven was running. And that'll end the first. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on. A scoreless through 1. Brett Gillis returning to the mound, facing off against the bottom 3 hitters, Tanner Lind, Brendan Miller, and Hunters Alaska. No score between Lake Stevens and Cascade. And we are now back in the top of the second inning. Lake Stevens trying to get some runs on the board after leaving 3 base runners on base in the last inning. Brett Gillis once again on the mound after throwing 26 pitches in the first inning against the right fielder Tanner Lind. Number 20, the 7 hitter. First pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. And Brett, a pretty rough inning there, but a nice recovery. 9 balls, 17 strikes on 26 pitches, allowing no runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 3 runners left on. The 0-1 pitch, a liner that goes foul right next to the practice football field that's across from the Cascade bleachers and dugout along the third base side. Count now at 0-2. And the 0-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. That one in the dirt. And Brett strikes out Tanner on 3 pitches. Here is Brendan Miller, the starting second baseman, entering the game with a .320 batting average, 8 hits and 25 at-bats with 11 RBIs. He has been hit 3 times. He has scored 5 runs. He has hit 2 doubles, 1 triple, and has been walked 5 times. First pitch, a ball in the dirt that rolls towards the on-deck hitter, Hunters Alaska, 1-0. So the other semifinal game going on right now, Mount Vernon and Jackson. The 1-0 pitch, strike 1 looking right down the middle. And Brett getting the sign from Nicholas Clamp. 1 ball and 1 strike count. Chopper, a slow one going to the third baseman, Carson Metcalf. Throw to first is in time. And we'll get him for the second out of the top of the second inning. Brings up the number 9 hitter, Hunters Alaska. And Zalasko entering the game, his first time, the first time that his batting average has dipped under 200 all year. His batting average down at 192, 10 hits and 52 at-bats with 9 RBIs. It is 9 for 9 on stolen bases. First pitch, strike 1 looking. He's been hit 6 times, he has scored 9 runs, he has hit 3 doubles, and he's been walked 7 times, and during the regular season series, he was 0 for 5 with a walk. Brett, the 0-1. Foul chopper. That'll bounce straight to the catcher, Nicholas Klemp. No balls and 2 strikes. So the other semifinal game is the 3-seeded Mount Vernon Bulldogs playing down in Mill Creek against the number 2 seed Jackson Timberwolves. And the 0-2, a ground ball, a nice snag by the pitcher Brett Gillis, who casually tosses it to the first baseman Brock. And that'll end the top of the second. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. Xander Fogel returned to the mound against the number 5, 6, and 7 hitters Brock Gillis, Ben Hansen, and Sam Barnes as we go into the bottom of the second inning. No score between Lake Stevens and Cascade. And we are now back in the bottom of the second inning. Xander Fogel on the mound against the number 5 hitter Brock Gillis, the starting first baseman, and the number 2 starting pitcher, and the number 2 pitcher in the starting rotation for Cascade. And Brock entering this game, 14 hits and 42 at-bats with a .333 batting average, 13 RBIs, and is 3 for 3 in stolen bases. First pitch, strike one looking. That one just hitting the top part of the strike zone. Brock 10 runs, 3 doubles, 1 triple, and 5 walks on the year. In the regular season series, he was 1 for 6 with a stolen base. First pitch, and the 0-1 pitch, fly ball for a foul. And it was in the bottom of the 7th inning with the bases loaded against sophomore Devin McWaters, where Brock got hit with the bases loaded. He walked over the first and got credited with an RBI as Cascade won that game 4-3 in part of 3 walk-off wins. And he won to a one-hopper, a nice stop by the starting catcher Trey Long. Count now goes down to 1-2. The next 3 batters, the first baseman Brock Gillis, the second baseman Ben Hansen, and the starting right fielder Sam Barnes. And the 1-2 pitch. This one leaning foul. Foul ball, that one. Looks like it hits the left field foul line there, but looks like it lands more in foul territory, and now's a close call for Lake Stevens. A lucky break there, as the count will stay at 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the 1-2 pitch, fly ball, it's another foul. Count stays, it'll be another foul ball. Brock Gillis battling against Xander Fogel in the first at-bat. And the count stays 1 ball and 2 strikes. Xander Fogel, 6 pitches in the at-bat, and that is a strike 3 called. And a nice way to end the at-bat by the sophomore pitcher Xander Fogel for the first out of the second inning. Brings up the number 6 hitter and the starting second baseman, number 1, Ben Hansen. This year he has 10 hits and 38 at-bats, a .263 batting average, and 5 RBIs. He is 4 for 5 on stolen bases, scoring 8 runs and walking 9 times. He has no extra base hits this year. First pitch, a strike 1 looking. And on the year, on the year in the regular season series, he was 1 for 3 with an RBI, a run, and 2 walks. The 0-1, low in the dirt, ball 1. Xander, a pretty good first inning, evening out his balls and strikes for 9 pitches each, for a total of 18 pitches, allowing a runner on, and that is the total for Cascade in this game, 1-1. Outside, ball 2. And Xander, the 2-1. Outside, ball 3. As Xander gets deeper behind in the count. Last time these two teams faced off, 2014, it was when both Lake Stevens and Cascade were in separate divisions. Lake Stevens in the 4A North, Cascade in the 4A South, the 3-1. Ground ball fielded by Xander, who drops the baseball and is not able to throw it to first. Can he get him? No, he cannot. It's an error on Xander Fogel, and the Bruins have a runner on first. Xander, he snagged the ball and thought that he had it in his glove, but in reality, it got out of his glove, and the last possible second he was walking towards first. He was able to pick it up and throw it, but it will not get to Ben Hansen in time, and Cascade's got another base runner here. Sam Barnes, the right fielder, entering the game, 11 hits, 48 at-bats, a .229 batting average with 8 RBIs. First pitch, a one-hopper to Trey. Ben Hansen going to second, and he's not able to throw. And Cascade got their first run in scoring position. And the count starts at 0-1 to Sam Barnes. And it was a pitcher's duel in that Wesco championship game. Taylor Shea for Lake Stevens against KJ Brady for Cascade. KJ Brady now a senior for the University of Washington baseball team. Ball 2, timeout by Lake Stevens. Trey Long going to the mound to talk to Xander. And Lake Stevens, they started off with a 1-0 lead. But then Cascade came back and won that game by the final score of 4-1. They ended up playing deep into the quarterfinals, the state quarterfinals, where they beat Mountain View in the first game, if I remember correctly, and then they played in the quarterfinals and lost to Woodinville by the score of 8-3. Both games were played at Everett Memorial Stadium. That Wesco championship game was played at Everett Memorial Stadium. 2 balls and no strikes. Cascade, their first run is at second base for Ben Hansen, the 2-0. Outside, strike 1 looking. And Lake Stevens, in that playoff format, they also automatically went to state, but they lost in the first round. The 2-1 inside, ball 3. And where Lake Stevens, they played South Kitsap High School. They lost to them by the score of 5-2. South Kitsap ended up going all the way to the state championship game over at Geisa Stadium in Pasco. Ended up losing to the Puyallup Vikings by a score of 8-2. 3-1, low for a ball 4. Ben Hansen going to third base on another wild pitch, and Sam Barnes goes to first. And Cascade has runners on the corners with 1 out for Carson Metcalf, the 8-hitter. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White walking to the mound along with the catcher, Trey Long. They'll take a quick break here, bottom of the second inning. Cascade and Lake Stevens, no score. Cascade with runners on the corners and 1 Cascade batter out in the bottom of the second inning, no score. And we are now back into the bottom of the second inning. Cascade with runners on first and third with 1 out. For Xander Fogle against the starting shortstop Carson Metcalf, entering this game with 9 hits in 34 at-bats, a .265 batting average, low for a ball 1. During the year, Carson 7 runs, fly ball. That one going to left. Ben Pizer, he is under it. Ben Hansen is gonna try and score. He'll get a few hops, and he'll not able to get to Theron Perkins in time. And Cascade will get their first run on the board on a sacrifice fly by Carson Metcalf. Sam Barnes staying at first base. Cascade with a 1-0 lead, and here is the starting center fielder, Drew Swartz. Last year, he was 1 for 2 with a walk and a stolen base in the second game, where Cascade won by the score of 7-3, and he has not had an at-bat against the Vikings this season. First pitch low for a ball 1. This year, 4 hits and 15 at-bats, a .267 batting average. With 3 RBIs, he has scored 3 runs, and he has walked once. And the 1-0. Strike 1 looking, a nice pitch by Xander. So that run will be unearned as Ben Hansen got on base on an error by Fogle. And Xander the 1-1. And a slow chopper. This one fielded by Theron. Throw to first. Is it in time? Yes, it is. What a play by the third baseman, Theron Perkins, to end the second inning. Cascade gets their first run on the board. 1 run, no hits, 1 error, 1 runner left on. Cascade takes an early 1-0 lead as we go into the top of the third. Brett Gillis back on the mound as he faces off against the top 3 hitters. Once again, Ben Pizer, Theron Perkins, and Trey Long as Lake Stevens tries to make this a ball game again. Top of the third, 1-0 Cascade. And we are now back into the top of the third inning. Lake Stevens trying to tie this game up after Cascade got a run on the board. They lead 1-0 as Brett Gillis faces off against Ben Pizer for the second time around. Ben is 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking on 5 pitches.
Go Ben.
And the first pitch by Brett, outside, ball 1. Brett, a really good second inning, allowing only 1 ball for 8 strikes and 9 pitches. Total of 10 balls, 25 strikes and 35 pitches, and all zeros. Still with 2 hits and 3 runners left on. And the 1-0 pitch outside, ball 2. So the highlights from Saturday's game: Mount Vernon beating Monroe by the final score of 3-1. Riley Olmsted, their ace pitcher, throwing a complete game. The 2-0 pitch, check swing for a 2-1 count. Riley Olmsted, along with Dylan Surin, Sven Larson getting an RBI for Mount Vernon. And the 2-1, strike 2 looking. Once again, a 2-2 count for Brett against Ben Pizer. Well, for the Monroe Bearcats in the top of the 7th inning, Ryan Witt not going down without a fight, able to get a solo homer. And the 2-2, foul ball hits the fence.
Look at those pants.
And the count stays at 2 balls and 2 strikes. So that is how we got to Mount Vernon playing Jackson. If Monroe were to win this game, then Lake Stevens would play down at Mill Creek. The 2-2. Strike 3 called, and once again, Brett gets Ben looking. That'll be strikeout number 4 on the afternoon for Brett. Here is Theron Perkins, who had a first pitch infield single and was stranded at third base. And Brett, first pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1.
Hey, come on, kid.
And so here are the playoff scenarios. Regardless of whoever wins this game, they'll be playing at Everett Memorial Stadium on Thursday, May 10th. The question is, what time and who are they playing? The 0-1, swing and a miss, strike 2. And the winner of this game will play the winner of Mount Vernon and Jackson at 7 p.m. for the 2018 Wesco 4A Championship, while the loser will play in a consolation game at 4 p.m. And the 0-2, this will hit Theron on the arm, and he will once again go to base. Theron, the second time this year that he's been hit.
For the Vikings, catcher number 5, Trey Long.
As Lake Stevens has the game-tying runs in the base paths, here's the number 3 hitter, Trey Long. Got on base on a full count walk his last time up and was stranded at second base. And Brett, first pitch. 1 hopper to the catcher, Nicholas Klemp, ball 1. So the winner of this game will play the winner of Jackson and Mount Vernon at Everett Memorial Stadium on May 10th at 7 p.m., while the loser will play the loser of that game at 4 p.m. on the same day, with the loser of the consolation game ending their season, with the winner of that consolation game playing the loser of the championship. The 1-0, check swing, strike 1 looking. There's also a few other headlines regarding playoff baseball on Saturday. The Arlington Eagles having the most impressive one. They've won their last 19 straight games. The 1-1 pitch low in the dirt for a ball 2. Arlington, they lost against these Cascade Bruins at Arlington High School in the second game of the year by the score of 8-6, and they haven't lost since. They beat the Linwood Royals by the final score of 4-2 at Arlington High School, winning their 19th straight game. Throw to first is not in time. Other games, Edmonds Woodway beating Snohomish by the score of 13-7, a very high-scoring game there. And the 2-1, a ground ball. This one fielded by Sesso. Throws to second. Throws to first. Does he get him? Yes, he does. It's a 5-4-3 double play to end the top of the third inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. Another 1-2-3 inning by Brett Gillis. It is still 1-0 Cascade as Xander Fogel will walk to the mound for the bottom of the third, facing off against the top 3 hitters in Jaden Talt, Nicholas Klemp, and Brett Gillis. Still a 1-0 Cascade lead. And we are now back into the bottom of the third inning. Cascade with a 1-0 lead over Lake Stevens as they go back to the top of the order. It'll be the leadoff hitter, Jaden Talt. The left fielder, he hit a 2-2 pitch to the second baseman, Brendan Miller, for the first out. To start the bottom of the first, Xander Fogel, a pretty rough second inning, 10 balls, 12 strikes on 22 pitches, total of 19 balls, 21 strikes and 40 pitches. First pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. Allowing 1 run, no hits, 1 error, and 1 runner left on. A total of 1 run, no hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left on in the game. It'll be Jaden Talt, Nicholas Klemp, and Brett Gillis. Once again, the 0-1. Foul ball, count now at 0-2. And Xander Fogel, his journey throughout the year has been interesting. He started off as the starting pitcher for the junior varsity team. The 0-2, fly ball. That one looks like it's going to fall, and it will. It'll be a bloop single right near the left field line. Throw to second base is over the head of Brendan Miller. And Cascade has a runner in scoring position. It's a bloop single. It'll be an error on Ben Pizer that will move him to second. It'll be the second error already by Lake Stevens. They'll bring up the number 2 hitter, Nicholas Klemp, who flied out to the center fielder, Christian LaPierre, for the second out in the first inning. And Xander, the first pitch. Low for a ball 1. That one landing in no man's land right near the left field line. Theron Perkins, the third baseman, and Ben Pizer, the left fielder, both were running for it and were not able to get it. Ben throwing the ball. The second base, it goes over the head of Brendan Miller, and it moves Talt to second, the 1-0. Upstairs, ball 2. And so Lake Stevens bringing in their second consecutive pitcher who is making their first varsity start for the team, with the last one being Jacob Wordla, who only lasts a third of an inning. And Xander 2-0. One hopper, ball 3. Ben Hansen to throw to third. Does he get him? No, he doesn't. It'll be a wild pitch, a close play at third, as Trey Long throws to Theron Perkins, and Jaden Talt is safe at third base. And the count now at 3 balls and no strikes. 3-0. Strike 1 looking.
Oh boy.
And Xander, the windup in the 3-1. Low for a ball 4. Runners on the corners with nobody out. And here is Brett Gillis. And it will be number 12, Brody Larson, who will be pinch running for Nicholas Klemp. As Brett Gillis, he was walked on 4 pitches and was replaced by Stephen Maynard on the base paths his last time up, and was the only base runner in that first inning. And Xander, the first pitch, fly ball, that one going the right. Tanner is going, he is under it, and will make the catch. No, he drops it. Brody Larson throws to second, it'll not be in time, and it'll be an error on the right fielder, Tanner Lynn, and Cascade gets another run on the board. And it'll be the third error for Lake Stevens, second one in this inning, as that will score Jaden Talt. Brody Larson will stay at second, and he'll bring up the cleanup hitter Jacob Sesso. And Cascade now with a 2-0 lead over Lake Stevens. Tanner Lynn trying to fight the sun over there in right field. And we'll end up dropping the baseball. First pitch by the Xander. It'll be a 6-4-3 double play, as that will be a grounder straight to the shortstop, Hunter Zalesko. Brody Larson going to third, and that will put 2 outs on the board just like that. Now bring up Brock Gillis, who struck out looking after a lengthy at-bat on a 1-2 count. And Jaden Talt, that leadoff single, the first hit for the Cascade Bruins. And Xander, the first pitch, swing and a miss, strike one. And Brody Larson will stay at third. A nice job by Trey Long to keep track of the baseball to keep Brody at third base. And in the last at bat, it took 7 pitches for Xander Fogel to strike out Brock Gillisti. 1-0 pitch, swing and a miss, strike one. Count now even at 1 ball and 1 strike. And Xander the 1-1. Check swing, did he go? No, he did not, ball 2. And Xander 2-1. Chopper. This one going to Hunter, who will field the ball. Throw to first is in time, and it will end the 3rd inning. Another run will get on the board. 1 run on 1 hit, 2 errors, and 1 runner left on. Cascade put another run on the board. They're up 2-0. Brett Gillis facing off against the middle of the order. Connor Bardu, Christian LaPierre, and Will Wentz is there now up by 2. And we are now back at the top of the 4th inning. Cascade now leading by the score of 2-0. And it'll be the cleanup hitter, Connor Bardu, walking up to the plate again. He hit a 1-2 pitch to right field for a bloop single to make the bases loaded in the 1st inning. It was his first at-bat since his return from the separated shoulder injury. First pitch inside, ball 1. And Brett Gillis, a pretty good 3rd inning. 4 balls, 9 strikes, 13 pitches. A total of 14 balls, 34 strikes, and 48 pitches to 1-0. Fly ball, that is out for a foul. Count evens up at 1-1. It'll be Connor Bardu, Christian LaPierre, and Will Wentz, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters in the middle of the order. And Brett 1-1, the wind up and the throw. Another foul ball. Brett ahead of the count, 1-2. And Cascade, they were one of the people watching Saturday's game between the Vikings and Glacier Peak, and they were in for a treat. That game, it was a back-and-forth affair ending in extra innings. And the 1-2 upstairs, ball 2. Evening the count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. That game, it was a 5-0 Glacier Peak lead in the 1st inning. The Vikings later made it 5-4. They later tied the game and later took the lead at 6-5. The 2-2, strike 3 looking. Brett getting Connor looking for strikeout number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In the afternoon, the 5th one looking, or the 4th one. What is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5th strikeout, the 4th one looking. Here is Christian LaPierre, who struck out on a 2-2 pitch. Back in the first pitch from Brett. Upstairs, ball 1. And the 1-0 fly ball, it's a foul. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Hey, on it, kid.
And a timeout by Christian.
Go 2-1.
And Brett getting the sign from Nicholas Klemp, 1-1. Low, ball 2.
Boy. Let's go 2-1.
And Brett wind up 2-1. Check swing, ball 3. Christian LaPierre had some trouble with the home plate umpire in the calls in the last at-bat that ended in him striking out. 3-1. Strike 2 looking. Christian LaPierre, he thought that was a ball 4, and looks like he still has some trouble with the strike zone. Count now a full count, 3-2. That one landing under the strike zone. And he's had some trouble with the strike zone and the calls against him all year. Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And Christian with strikeout. It's the second time he's been struck out in Brett's sixth strikeout of the afternoon brings up Will Wentz, who is 0 for 1 after grounding out to Ben Hansen, the second baseman, to end the top of the first inning. And Brett, the windup in the first pitch. Outside, ball 1. And the 1-0. Fly ball, that's playable. This one going in the short right field. Ben Hansen calling for it, looking for it, makes the catch. And it'll be another 1-2-3 inning for Brett Gillis. And to end the top of the fourth, no runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on, highlighted by 2 more strikeouts by Brett Gillis. Xander Fogel walking back to the mound, facing off against the 6, 7, and 8 hitters of Ben Hansen, Sam Barnes, and Carson Metcalf. It's a 2-0 Cascade lead. And we are now back in the bottom of the fourth inning. Cascade with a 2-0 lead over Lake Stevens. Xander Fogel back on the mound. He was facing off against the number 6 hitter, Ben Hansen. He hit a liner straight to the pitcher, Xander Fogel, who couldn't handle it, and it started the run for Cascade over the past couple of innings. First pitch outside, ball 1. Xander, a pretty rough third inning, 6 balls, 8 strikes, 14 pitches, even though he faced off against 5 batters and allowed 1 unearned run, 25 balls, 29 strikes, and 54 pitches. The 1-0. Strike 1 looking. And a nice pitch by Xander, allowing one run on 1 hit, 2 errors, and 1 runner left on. Total of 2 runs on 1 hit, 3 errors, and 3 runners left on. Count is even at 1-1. Xander, the windup and the throw. As a strike 2 looking as the ball gets in and out of the glove of the catcher, Trey Long. It'll be Ben Hansen, Sam Barnes, and Carson Metcalf. And Xander, 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Xander getting Ben Hansen swing, the second strikeout of the afternoon for Xander. And here is Sam Barnes, who has walked on 5 pitches and was stranded at first base. And Sam Barnes on the year, he was 1 for 5 with a run and was hit once. And that was during the regular season series. First pitch, ball 1. So this will be game number 20 for the Cascade Bruins. They finished with an overall record of 16 wins and 3 losses. The 1-0. Ball 2, this one landing on top of the strike zone. 2 balls, no strikes. And Cascade, the recent baseball rankings were announced earlier today, and they had Cascade ranked as number 5 in the state. The 2-0. Upstairs, ball 3. Count now at 3-0. And not only did they have Cascade at number 5, they had Jackson ranked as 8th in the state. Which I think is inaccurate, even though they lost their last game. The 3-0. Strike 1 looking, another 3-1 count for Xander Fogel against Sam Barnes. And the 3-1 by Xander. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And the count is full. The count now full. Xander Fogel getting the sign from the catcher, Trey Long. The windup and the throw. Full count. Hard hit ball. This one going to left center. Going to Christian LaPierre, who will make the catch in deep left center field for the second out of the fourth. And that'll bring up the number 8 hitter, the shortstop, Carson Metcalf. Who hit a sacrifice fly to right field. That scored Ben Hansen from third for the first run of the game. First pitch, strike 1 looking. And the 0-1s. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And Xander behind on the count, no balls and 2 strikes. The windup and the 0-2 pitch. Outside, ball 1. That one rolls away from Trey. See if we can get some luck this time. with the updates on the semifinal game. 1-2. Foul chopper, this one rolling towards the third base coach for Cascade, the manager David Benson. It's his first year as the sole manager for the Cascade Bruins after a number of years with him and Scott Stencil, who stepped down as the co-head coach. And the 1-2 pitch, fly ball, that is out for a foul. Carson Metcalf fighting in the at-bat, and it'll stay at 1-2. And the 1-2 pitch, a fly ball. This one going into center field. This will fall right in front of the center fielder, Christian LaPierre, and the Cascade gets their second hit of the afternoon, a 2-out single by Metcalf. And there will be Drew Swartz. He had a 1-1 pitch right near the third base line. There's a nice pick by Theron Perkins and a nice throw to first to end the second inning. And the first pitch, a fly ball, that is playable. This one going to right. Tanner trying to find it. He'll make the catch on the first pitch in the fourth. And it'll end the threat. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left on. Lake Stevens, they need to do something here. They are trailing by 2 as we go into the top of the fifth against Brett Gillis, who has thrown 61 pitches after 4. He'll face off against the bottom 3 orders again. Tanner Lynn, Brendan Miller, and Hunter Zelasco. Last time that happened, he only took care of them in 9 pitches back in the second inning. Let's see if Lake Stevens can get something done. Down by 2, top of the fifth. And we are now back at the top of the fifth inning. Brett Gillis back on the mound, facing off against Tanner Lind, who struck him out on 3 pitches. And Brett struck out after 3 pitches to start off the second inning.
Go 2-0.
And the first pitch by Brett. Hard hit ball in the center field. Back goes Drew Swartz a couple of steps, and he'll make the catch as he's fighting the sun. Goes back a few steps, has his glove up in the air trying to shield his eyes from the sun, and he'll make the catch for the first out. And there is Brendan Miller, who hit a 1-1 pitch to the shortstop Carson Metcalf for the second out of the second inning. And Brett, first pitch. Fly ball, that's out foul over the Lake Stevens dugout. And the 0-1, strike 2 looking. The count now at no balls and 2 strikes. Brett Gillis, after allowing 2 hits and 3 runners on 26 pitches in the first. Looks like he got back into his old groove. The 0-2 pitch, a slow roller. This one fielded by Sesso to third baseman, who throws to first. And we'll get him in time for the second out. There is the number 9 hitter, Hunter Zelasco, hit an 0-2 pitch straight to the pitcher to end the second inning.
That back to the Vikings, number 22, shortstop, Wesco.
And Brett, first pitch. Check swing, ball 1 in the dirt. And Brett, the 1-0. Hard hit ball, this one going to left. Jaden Talt trying to fight the sun to make the catch, and he will. It took only 9 pitches in the second inning for him to get those 3 batters out. This one, not any better for Lake Stevens. He got him in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pitches. For another 1-2-3 inning, Cascade still with a 2-0 lead. Xander Fogel on the mound for the 5th, facing off against the top 3 hitters, Jaden Talt, Nicholas Klemp, and Brett Gillis, as Cascade still has a 2-0 lead. And we are now back into the bottom of the 5th inning. Lake Stevens still trailing Cascade 2-0 as Xander Fogel faced the top of the order, Jaden Talt, Nicholas Klemp, and Brett Gillis. Jaden Talt 1 for 2 with a single, hit the first base hit for Cascade in the third, and was the second run that scored for the Bruins, as he scored on what was supposed to be a sacrifice fly by Brett Gillis, but instead was an error by the right fielder Tanner Lind. And Xander, the windup in the first pitch. Strike one looking. Jaden Taldy grounded out to the second baseman Brendan Miller in the first, and in the third inning he got the first base hit for Cascade. And the 0-1. Strike two looking, another nice pitch by Xander. It'll be Jaden Salt, the left fielder, the catcher Nicholas Klemp, and the pitcher Brett Gillis. And Xander getting the sign from Trey, the 0-2. Line shot, that one going in the center field, falling right in front of Christian. And it'll be the second hit for Jaden Salt. To start off the bottom of the fifth, here is Nicholas Klemp, who was walked on 5 pitches and was replaced by Brody Larson at first base, and Larson was later stranded on third base. And Xander, the first pitch. Upstairs, ball one.
Go Xander, come on kid, you got it.
Cascade finished with the number 1 seed and the regular season title with a 12-2 conference record. And the 1-0 pitch, a strike one looking. Count evens up at 1-1. It was Cascade who finished with the number 1 seed with a 12-2 record. They had throw to first, not in time, to try and get Jaden Salt. They had 2 losses in conference play. Both of them were on the road. Cascade, they are, from what I know, they are undefeated at home. The 1-1 pitch, strike two looking, a 1-2 count. Cascade, their 3 losses, they've been on the road. The first one was a non-conference play against arguably the best team in the state, Mercer Island High School. They lost by the score of 9-6. It was a high-scoring game over there. And then the 2 conference games, they lost to Glacier Peak 5-2 and Mount Vernon 2-1. Ground ball. This one fielded by Will, who will touch the first base bag, and we'll get Nicholas Klemp out for the first out of the fifth. It'll move Jaden Talt to second. Here is Brett Gillis, the starting pitcher. He has no official at bat. He was walked on 4 pitches and hit a fly ball to right fielder Tanner Lind, who later dropped it. And Xander looking over at Jaden at second. First pitch, a ground ball. This gets into the hole in left field. Jaden is going to score from second base. And the throw home will not be in time. Brett goes to second. And Cascade now with a 3-0 lead on an RBI single by Brett. And Stephen Maynard will be pinch running. Stephen Maynard pinch running for Brett once again. Cascade now with a 3-0 lead. Jaden Talt with 2 runs of his own. And it brings up the cleanup hitter Jacob Sesso, who is 0 for 2 with a liner to Hunter Zelasco. And a ground ball to Zelasco for a 6-4 3-double play. First pitch, a 1-hopper. Brett goes to third, tries to throw the ball, and Trey loses the grip of the baseball as he tries throwing it. So it'll be a wild pitch. Ball 1, a 1-0 count. Infield moving in a little bit, 1-0. Under the strike zone, ball 2. And the 2-0, a 1-hopper, hitting the chest protector of Trey, ball 3, timeout by Lake Stevens. With Trey Long talking to Xander Fogel. Again, the winner of this game playing the winner of Mount Vernon and Jackson, which is currently going on right now at Mill Creek. The winner of this game plays the winner of that game for the Wesco Championship, and the loser of this game will play the loser of that game in a Wesco consolation game that will be played before the championship on Thursday, May 10th. The winner of that consolation game plays in a second place game against the loser of the Wesco championship. While the loser is out, the 3-0 upstairs, ball 4. And Xander will walk Jacob Sessa on 4 pitches. And once again, Cascade has runners on the corners. Here's Brock Gillis, who is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White walking up to the mound. Looks like they'll probably have a chat with Xander along with the catcher Trey Long. And yeah, they're going to take Xander Fogel out of the game. They're going to bring in number 28, Tate Brust. They'll take a quick break here. Bottom of the 5th inning. Score Cascade 3, Lake Stevens 0. Runners on the corners with one runner out. I'll take a quick break here from Cascade High School. You're listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball. And we are now back in the bottom of the 5th inning. Lake Stevens still trailing Lake Stevens by the score of 3-0. And it'll be number 9, Dakota Talt, pinch running for Brock Gillis, the older brother of the left fielder Jaden Talt. First pitch, check swing, strike 1 looking. For the new pitcher Tate Brust, Xander Fogel finishing his afternoon, 4 1/3, 4 hits, currently 3 runs allowed, 1 is earned. He is responsible for Steven at third and Jacob at first, walking 4, striking out 2 on 83 pitches. And the 0-1 pitch. Low and in the dirt to Trey, ball 1. Tate Brust entering this game, no wins and 1 loss, with an ERA of 4.38 with 8 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, walking 4 and striking out 5. The 1-1, a ball in the dirt, ball 2. Dakota Tuldy was a pinch hitter in the 2 games in the regular season series, striking out in the first game, the 1-1, and the 2-1 outside, ball 3. As he had 1 pinch hit at bat in the regular season series where he struck out swinging in the first game. And Tate, the 3-1, upstairs, ball 4, bases loaded. Now bring up Ben Hansen. And with 1 out, Cascade loading the bases. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White once again going to the mound. And they're going to bring in, looks like, another new pitcher. And they will. Josh White, knowing that regardless of the result, he's going to preserve his pitchers for Thursday's game, regardless of who he plays. And we're going to take another quick break. This time it'll be Alec Ibachuan, number 13, who will be on the mound. Take a quick break. Bottom of the 5th, bases loaded. 1 out, 3-0 Cascade. And we are now back once again to the bottom of the 5th inning. Cascade with a 3-0 lead over Lake Stevens. And once again, another pitcher for Lake Stevens, number 13, Alec Ibachuan. First pitch to Ben Hansen, a foul chopper for an 0-1 count. With Tate Brust only throwing 5 pitches to Dakota Talt. Trying to be preserved for Thursday. This one, a short fly ball. This one, it'll go to the second baseman, Brendan Miller, who makes the catch. And will not make a throw home, as it will be a sacrifice fly pop out. To the second baseman, Brendan Miller, for Ben Hansen, and it will score Stephen Maynard from third. Runners will stay, and it will be a 4-0 Cascade lead. Here is Sam Barnes, who is 0 for 1 with a walk. Alec Ibachuan, no wins, no losses, an ERA of 1.97. 7 1/3 innings, allowing 11 hits, 2 earned runs, walking 6. And I feel like I'm a broken record when I say this. Strikeout only 1 batter. First pitch, a strike 1 looking. And Alec looking over at Jacob Sesso at second base. Throw to second. Does he get him in time? Yes, he does! And a nice play. Alec Ibachuan throw into Hunter Zalesko. And a nice pickoff at second to get Jacob Sesso to end the fifth inning. It is 2 runs on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on. A huge inning for Cascade as they are now up by the score of 4-0. Lake Stevens, they need to do something in these next couple of innings against Brett Gillis. They'll be facing off against the top 3 batters of the order once again. Ben Pizer, Theron Perkins, and Trey Long. As Lake Stevens tries to get something done, they're down now 4-0 as they go into the top of the 6th. And we are now back into the top of the 6th inning. Lake Stevens, they only have a couple of innings left to try and keep their championship hopes alive, trailing 4-0 as Brett Gillis faces off against the leadoff hitter Ben Pizer for the 3rd time around, as Ben struck out looking twice. Outside ball 1. Ben striking out on a 2-2 count in the 1st inning and a 2-2 count in the 3rd. The 1-0 pitch, a foul ball over the fence, 1 ball, 1 strike. And the windup in the pitch, Brett. Outside ball 2. Brett Gillis, a pretty good 5th inning, 1 ball, 5 strikes, 6 pitches. A total of 21 balls, 46 strikes, and 67 pitches. The 2-1. Foul ball, count is even. There'll be Ben Pizer, Theron Perkins, and Trey Long. And out of the 3, they only got 1 hit, and 1 guy was walked and 1 guy was hit by pitch. The 2-2. Strike 3 called. Ben striking him out for the 3rd time looking. They'll bring up the top of the 1st out in the 6th, and they'll bring up Theron Perkins. And they'll bring up he had one of the 2 base hits in the 1st inning and got hit by a pitch. First pitch low for a ball 1. That was strikeout number 7 on the afternoon for Brett Gillis on an amazing night so far. 1-0, a hard hit shot deep to center. Back goes Drew Swartz. Drew Swartz going back. He has his glove up, and it'll hit the wall. Theron Perkins going to second. Now he's going to 3. And the throw to third base will be offline. And that barely gets into the dugout. It almost gets into the dugout as it'll be a 1-out triple for Theron Perkins. It was here at Cascade High School that he had his first triple, and now it is here today that he has his latest. It is his 6th triple of the year. Brings up Trey Long. The first hit for Lake Stevens since the 1st inning. And that one was in dead center field. Drew Swartz running back, and partly because of the sun, he couldn't see where the ball was. First pitch, strike 1 looking. Trey Long 0 for 1. He was walked in the 1st inning on a full count. In the 3rd inning, he hit into a 5-4-3 double play, getting Theron out at second, the 1-0. Strike 2 looking. And Brett ahead of the count, no balls, 2 strikes. The windup, the sign from Klemp. Ball 1 under the strike zone. And Brett, 1-2. Line shot, this one getting past the glove of a diving Carson Metcalf. Theron's going to score. And the Lake Stevens Vikings get on the board in the 6th inning with an RBI single by Trey Long. It'll score Theron. Trey with RBI number 11 on the year. Theron with run number 8 on the year. And it'll bring up Connor Bardou, who is 1 for 2 with a single in the 1st and struck out looking in the 4th. First pitch by Brett, strike 1 looking. And the 0-1. Foul ball hits the fence behind home plate. Brett ahead of the count, no balls, 2 strikes. And in a matter of 6 pitches, Lake Stevens responds through 2 batters with a triple by Theron and an RBI single by Trey. The 0-2 count, Brett. Low ball 1.
Keep working on that. Come babe. Let's go cut for the gap, on baby. Let's go on baby. Come babe.
And Brett 1 and 2. Outside ball 2.
You got beautiful eyes, get on babe.
And Connor is one of the top contributors for the Vikings during the regular season series. He had the most hits as he was 3 for 5 with 2 doubles, 2 runs, 2 stolen bases, and was hit once. He had a pretty active regular season series. And Brett, the sign from Clemp. Timeout by Connor. As Brett standing in place for the longest time on the mound, getting him off of his rhythm there. And Brett, the windup in the 2-2, foul ball. This one flying over the fence in the Lake Stevens dugout. Count staying even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lake Stevens, after getting a couple of hits in the first inning, looks like they have some light, 2-2. A foul chopper that rolls towards the on-deck hitter, Christian LaPierre. Connor staying alive.
Hey, Bardu, keep it up. Let's go smooth. Get smooth, easy. Come back. Oh, there you go, baby. Go, Bardu. Just Bardu it, can't man.
Brett shaking off a couple of signs from Nicholas Klemp. Looks over at Trey at first. The windup in the 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Gets Connor swing for the second out.
Hey, Christian.
And Brett now exceeding the strikeout mark that he had in his last start against Lake Stevens. He had 8 strikeouts then. He has 8 strikeouts now. Here's Christian LaPierre, who is 0 for 2, striking out against Brett twice. 1 looking and 1 swinging after a questionable call on a 3-1 count that looked like would have been ball 4. Brett, first pitch. Inside ball 1.
Go 2-1.
And Brett the 1-0. Swing and a miss, strike 1 in the dirt.
Go, Christian!
Count it even at 1-1. Lake Stevens looks like they might have a chance to make this a ball game again. The 1-1 count, a ground ball. This one going to Ben Hansen. It goes under the legs of Ben Hansen, the second baseman, and Trey goes to second. Lake Stevens keeps the inning alive. Ben Hansen pulling off a Bill Buckner there, trying to field the ball, but it ends up getting between his legs, and Lake Stevens has runners on first and second. Will Wentz, he is 0 for 2 with a ground out to Ben Hansen and a fly ball to Ben Hansen back in the second, and he represents the game-tying run.
Let's go, William! Let's go,
And Brett, first pitch. Fly ball, that is out for a foul.
Let's go, Willie!
This one behind the Lake Stevens bleachers for an 0-1 count, so it's the first error for the Cascade Bruins. Lake Stevens, they have 3. In the second game, there was a total of 8 errors, 3 by Cascade, 5 by the Vikings. And the 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. And Brock Gillis with a chance to finish off the top of the 6 here. Brett looking at Trey at second, the 0-2. Check swing, did he go? No, he did not, ball 1. Brett still ahead of the count, 1-2. Trey at second, Christian at first. And Brett looks over at Trey, the 1-2. Strike 3 called, and that will end the 6th inning. Brett Gillis striking out the side in the top of the 6th, but Lake Stevens gets a run on the board. It is 1 run on 2 hits, 1 error, and 2 runners left on. Lake Stevens look like they have some life here in the top of the 6th, but let's see if they can keep that as they go into the bottom of the 6th inning. Aleki Bachuan back on the mound, facing off against the bottom of the order, and Sam Barnes, Carson Metcalf, and Drew Swartz, as Cascade now leads by the score of 4-1. And we are now back at the bottom of the 6th inning. Lake Stevens trailing Cascade now by the score of 4-1. Aleki Bachuan back on the mound, facing off against the number 7 hitter, Sam Barnes. It was against Barnes. It was during the at-bat in the last inning that Ibachuan was able to throw out Jacob Sesso at second base.
The right fielder, number 21,
Sam Barnes 0 for 1. He was walked with 5 pitches in the second inning and then flew out to the center fielder, Christian LaPierre, in the fourth. And Alec, the windup in the first pitch. Low and in the dirt, ball 1. Alec, no balls, 3 strikes, 3 pitches total for him in the fifth inning. And total for the inning in general, 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on. Total of 4 runs on 4 hits, 3 errors, and 5 runners left on. The 1-0 outside, ball 2. And the 2-0. Fly ball. This one going to right center. Christian and Tanner both going for it. Tanner calling for it, and he will make the catch for the first out of the 6. And they'll bring up Carson Metcalf. Hit a sacrifice fly in the second and hit a single in the fourth, and it was the only base hit in that inning.
Number 14, Zach Gill.
And Alec Ibachuan waiting to throw the first pitch, the windup. Hard hit ball, this one going to right. Tanner makes the catch, a liner straight to the junior right fielder. And that'll be the second out of the 6th inning. And that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Drew Swartz, who is 0 for 2. With a ground out to Theron Perkins, a nice play by him in the second inning. And then he flew out to Ben Pizer in the fourth to end the 4th inning. And Alec, the first pitch. Strike 1 looking. And a nice pitch by Ibachuan. It was on a 1-1 count that Drew hit a slow grounder, a slow chopper actually, to Theron Perkins for the first out. And the 0-1 pitch, a strike 2 looking. Once again, fooling Drew Swartz with the curveball inside. And on the first pitch in the 4th inning from Xander Fogel, he flew out to Ben Pizer. And the 0-2 fly ball. That is out for a foul. Count will stay 0-2. Alex still ahead of the count. Wind up in the 0-2. Low and in the dirt, ball 1. So the next 3 batters for the Lake Stevens Vikings, the 7, 8, 9 hitters of Tanner Lynn, Brendan Miller, and Hunter Zelasco, who are a combined 0 for 6 against Brett Gillis. And the 1-2 upstairs, ball 2. So if Lake Stevens can somehow get their lineup back up to the top of the order, that would be just fine, and we'll give them a better chance of getting back into this game. And the 2-2 pitch, strike 3 called. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Alec Ibachuan in the bottom of the 6th. And this is where the suspense will kick in. There's no runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. Cascade leads 4-1. Lake Stevens, they need to score 3 runs to tie it, 4 to take the lead. Cascade, they need 3 outs to go to their first Wesco championship since 2014 when they beat the Vikings 4-1 in the championship at Everett Memorial Stadium. When we come back, it'll be the top of the 7th inning. Cascade 4, Lake Stevens 1. Lake Stevens trying to keep their championship hopes alive. And we are now back to the top of the 7th inning, the last hope for the Lake Stevens Vikings as they are trying to advance to their 2nd straight Wesco championship. First pitch, a ball 1 in the dirt from Brett Gillis to the catcher Nicholas Klepp. Tanner Lind is 0 for 2 with a strikeout swinging and a flyout to center field. The 1-0 low for a ball 2. It'll be the 7, 8, 9 hitters, Tanner Lind, Brendan Miller, and Hunter Zelasco. Tanner struck out and flew out against them. The 2-0 pitch, strike 1 looking. And Brett Gillis had a pretty rough 6th inning, allowing the first run, 8 balls on 17 strikes for 25 pitches. The 2-1 grounder. This one going to the shortstop, Carson Metcalf. Throw to first is in time for out number 1. And that'll bring up Brendan Miller, who grounded out in his last 2 at-bats, grounded out to Carson Metcalf in the 2nd inning, and to Brock Gillis, no, not to Brock Gillis, and to Jacob Sesso in the 5th. As this is Miller's first game against the Bruins. First pitch, ball in the dirt for a 1-0 count.
Let's go, Mills!
And Gillis the 1-0. Chopper, this one going into the hole in left field. The shortstop, Carson Metcalf, trying to pick that one up. But it'll be a 1-out single. And Brendan Miller now 1 for 3 on the afternoon. And it'll bring up Hunter Zelasco 0 for 2 with a... And it'll be a ground out to the pitcher, Brett Gillis, and a fly out to left field. First pitch, a strike 1 looking. And Brett the 0-1. And this will hit Hunter on the arm, and he is hit for the 7th time this year. He now overtakes Christian LaPierre as he has the team lead in getting hit by a pitch is 7 times. And 1 out, runners on 1st and 2nd. Ben Pizer representing the game tying run. Ben, he is 0 for 3 as he was frozen 3 times. He struck out looking. First pitch, a foul ball, an 0-1 count. This one hitting on top of the batting cages. That's right behind the Cascade bleachers along the 3rd base side. The second hit by pitch by Brett. The 0-1. Fly ball, another foul. Count now at 0-2. So a total for Brett through 6, 29 balls, 63 strikes on 89 pitches. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, 2 runners left on. Total of 1 run, 4 hits, 1 error, and 5 runners left on. And Brett, the 0-2, a line shot. This one going in the center. Brandon Miller is going to be riding around 3rd base. The throw gets past the first baseman, Brock Gillis, and it'll be an RBI single by Ben Pizer. He was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. And on his 18th birthday response with an RBI single, scoring Brendan Miller from 2nd. And the score is now 4-2. Hunter Zelasco at 2nd. Now at 2nd base, and here's Theron Perkins. Now Lake Stevens getting some life back in them. Getting some life back into them late in this game. Here's Theron Perkins, hit a single and a triple. A chopper caught by Brett Gillis. The throw to 2nd in time. Throw to 1st isn't. And there will be runners on the corners. There's a nice snag by Brett. And now Josh White is saying that the 2nd baseman, Ben Hansen, got his foot off the bag when he caught the ball.
For the Vikings, the catcher,
right now, it's going to be a fielder's choice. It'll be Hunter moving the 3rd. Josh White talking with the umpire in the infield about the call. Right now, it'll be a fielder's choice for Theron Perkins, and now they're going to talk to see if this call is going to stand. And it looks like they're going to review the play, and this call may impact the game greatly. And they're going to look at it. So what happened was that Gillis, he threw the ball. It was a slow toss to the 2nd baseman, Ben Hansen, and what Josh White is saying that his foot was off the bag when the ball got into his glove. He was moving out of the way, trying to get away from Ben Pizer. And they're going to say he is out. Out at 2nd base. It'll be a fielder's choice. And Cascade now with 1 more out. Trey Long. The last hope for the Lake Stevens Vikings. Timeout by Cascade. David Bedson, along with the catcher Nicholas Klemp, and the entire infield walking up to the mound. as Brett Gillis at 6 2/3 innings, sitting at 101 pitches. Now Lake Stevens with still a little bit of life in them. They have Trey Long and Connor Bardou. Two guys who can definitely hit the ball and can make this a ball game. Trey Long representing the game-leading run. Theron representing the game-tying run. He is at first base.
Go Trey! Let's go Trey on me! On me! Let's go,
And Brett Gillis, the first pitch. Foul ball hits the fence behind home plate, 0-1. Now at 102 pitches. And the max is 115. That's the WIAA state rules. And it looks like they're going to probably take Brett Gillis out of the game. And they will. They're going to take him out of the game. New Hill with an 0-1 count. And Brett Gillis, what an amazing start at home to end his high school career. They're going to bring in number 3, Carson Metcalf, as the new pitcher. We'll be right back. Runners on the corners with 2 outs. Cascade 1 out away from a Wesco championship berth. Brett Gillis taken over by Carson Metcalf. Brett Gillis will be moving to third base. We'll take a quick break. And we're now back in the bottom of the 7th inning. Lake Stevens. They have runners on the corners with 2 out. And Cascade, they are 1 out away from going back to the Wesco championship for the first time in 4 years. And a 0-1 count. Brett Gillis being replaced by Carson Metcalf, who is playing at shortstop. Brett's going to play at shortstop now. First pitch to Trey, inside ball 1. It was a 0-1 count. Currently Brett Gillis, 6 2/3, 6 hits. Currently 2 earned runs. Walking 1 batter, striking out 9. So far, a really good performance, especially in his final start. Carson, the 1-1. Strike 2 looking. And Cascade, they have 1 more strike left. Carson Metcalf, 2-2, 3.78, 16 2/3 innings, 9 earned runs, 7 walks, 8 strikeouts. Count is 1-2. Runners on the corners. Metcalf, the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. He tags Trey, not able to tag him. Throw to first is in time. And the Cascade Bruins, for the first time since 2014, will play in the Wesco 4A championship game. The Lake Stevens Vikings final score, Cascade 4, Lake Stevens 2. Lake Stevens going down to 9 wins and 13 losses. Cascade down to up to 17 wins and 3 losses. Brett Gillis, 2 earned runs. He gets the win as he is now an undefeated 5-0. Carson Metcalf with the save. The losing pitcher is Xander Fogel, who will get his first loss at 2-1. As of right now, all we know is that both teams will play at Everett Memorial Stadium on Thursday, May 10th. Lake Stevens will be playing in their first ever postseason consolation game in this postseason format, and the first time since 2011. And they'll be playing at 4 p.m. on Thursday, May 10th, while Cascade will play at 7 p.m. Lake Stevens playing the loser of Mount Vernon and Jackson, which we do not have a word of what the final score is for that. Cascade playing the winner of that game. And again, for the consolation games, the winner of the consolation game moves on to the second place game, played on Saturday, May 12th, in which they play the loser of the Wesco championship game, while the loser of the consolation game, their season is done for good. And the Wesco championship game, winner of that game wins the Wesco title. Loser plays the second place game, and the winner of the second place game will take the second state playoff berth. My name is Payne Patrick. You've been listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball. Lake Stevens, they still got 1 game left. They're going to play either Mount Vernon or Jackson at Everett Memorial Stadium on Thursday, May 10th. You've been listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball. Good night, everybody.